Welcome back to another segment of Behind the Scenes of the Waltons. Today I'm going to talk a bit about the episode The Battle of Drucilla's Pond. This is from Season 6, Episode 9. If you're enjoying these, please do hit like and subscribe. This episode was written by Rod Peterson and Claire Whitaker, who were a married couple who also became producers on the series in later seasons. It was directed by Philip Leacock. In this episode, initially we see Olivia by Drucilla's pond, and she is painting. Grandpa comes by to do some fishing. Olivia talks about how she is planning to enter her paintings in a competition that will be held in Rockfish. Mary Ellen and Aaron have been walking along to Ike's store. As they get towards Ike's store, they are suddenly being whistled at because the army is in town. They ignore the whistles, but on their way out, someone shouts at them, and it turns out it is Curt. And Curt is in town with the army. They are there to do some various different maneuvers, just practicing, just working out different types of things to prepare the army should they need to go to war. Mary Ellen, hoping that Curt will be able to come have dinner, maybe stay at the house at times. He said it depends, how far they are, and he has to camp with his men. But Grandpa comes across some of the men from the army and suggests that they do their maneuvers in camp by Drucilla's pond so that Curt can be close enough to come and have dinner and spend time with Mary Ellen. So appreciate that he was looking out for Mary Ellen. But I did not realize, because Grandpa talks about how Drucilla's pond is on our property, and I never really thought about that. I always thought that it was sort of more on community property. Clearly people go and use the pond, but I guess it was indeed on Walton's Mountain, on the property the Waltons owned. Now, I did find out that some of you have asked if Drucilla's pond was a real pond near Earl's childhood home, and he said there was a pond. I don't remember if it was called Drucilla's Pond or not. Very well may have been, but it was there when he was growing up and has since dried out or something, but it doesn't exist any longer. Olivia is making costumes for Aimee and Elizabeth, who are going to be performing a patriotic dance for this little event that's happening in Rockfish, where the paintings are going to be displayed, and there's going to be some sort of a little program there. So we see Elizabeth tapping her way into the kitchen as she's practicing her taps. And I'm sure that Cammie had to learn to do this little bit of tap dancing for this episode, because I don't think that she had previously done tap dancing. I don't know if Rachel Longaker had any previous tap experience, but I thought the girls did a really good job. And I think it's adorable here where Grandpa decides to join in as Elizabeth is tapping. Grandpa was always one to be happy to join in a celebratory dance. Curt was indeed able to come and spend the night. He said he snuck in to spend the night with Mary Ellen after walking her back from the camp when she got arrested because she was just out taking a walk near the pond and didn't realize that it was now off limits. So Curt walked her back and stayed. He said it was fun kind of sneaking in. So Mary Ellen's gonna see him off, and then we hear an explosion. So the army is setting off different types of explosions as part of their maneuvers, and it knocks a picture of Jason off the wall, which John says he will have fixed for her. Ike is honored and excited to be helping out with civil defense for what is going to be a sort of mock disaster that the army is staging, and it's going to be staged outside of Ike's store. Jason, driving home one day, runs across a soldier on the side of the road. His car's broken down. He's basically out of gas. And Jason says, well, come on back. We have some gas at the house. Aaron is with him, and Aaron is none too thrilled to have this soldier that she has to make room for in the car, because she's still very wary of having any interaction with soldiers after the recent death of GW. And Jason explains this, so Billy understands. As he waits for the gas, he wanders over to get water from the water pump and comes across Olivia, who is painting the water pump and the barn area, and they have a little bit of a chat. He's also from a small town, and that through the painting, he feels like he sees Olivia's vision of that. Note that in this case, both Maude Gormley and Olivia are painting and submitting paintings for this competition. And these paintings, I believe, were all done by our art director, Ed Graves. People have asked if Michael actually did paint. To my knowledge, Michael has not done any painting of her own. Aimee and Elizabeth are practicing their tap dance as Corabeth plays piano. Meanwhile, Ike comes in with Jim Bob and Ben, who are busy getting ready to set up cots for this upcoming mock disaster. It causes a conflict between Ike and Corabeth, which is nothing new. Grandpa's heading off fishing again. Jason explains that the army had an accident and they had to explode a grenade in Drucilla's pond, but fortunately no one was hurt. But as Grandpa goes to look at the pond, all of the fish are dead. So he's very upset. What do you mean no one was hurt? Back home, we see John helping load up all of Olivia's paintings to take them into Rockfish. She's undecided about which ones, and basically John just says, put them all in there. So they go over, and John is helping Olivia hang all of her paintings for the exhibit. And he comes across Maude Gormley, who says she needs help hanging her paintings as well, and kind of flirts with John.
I thought maybe John Walton would help an old lady.
You show me an old lady, Maude, and I'd be glad to help her.
Olivia, if we don't come back, I run off with your husband.
Don't you dare, Maude.
So just a sweet little exchange as Maude flirts with John. On the way back home, John and Olivia drive past where the army is doing some of their maneuvers. And this was all done in our jungle area on the back lot of the studio, which is the jungle was right by Drucilla's pond. And of course, Drucilla's pond and that area around the pond was used for multiple things, including certain scenes near Boatwright. And it was, and sometimes it was filled in the pond because it was man-made on the studio lot. So they'd fill it in when it needed water, and then they'd drain it. And sometimes episodes used the drained out Drucilla's pond, like when it was a Japanese POW camp, when Ben was in the POW camp, or in The Lie, when the young girl that Ben was helping to go see her mom at her family farm, that was the dugout Drucilla's pond. So a very useful multi-purpose set. They get back home, and there's been a lot of gunfire and explosions and things, and we hear that the animals have all been very upset by this. Chance, Reckless, Rover, Myrtle. Chance is pregnant, and they are waiting for this calf to arrive. And there's some a little talk about when Chance had her first calf, Bullet, and how they sold it, and then so John says, are you going to want to earn money again, or need me to buy this back, or should I just not sell it? So there's a cute thing there where basically we get the idea that Olivia's saying, no, don't sell it. One of my favorite scenes was one between Ralph and Will, where Grandpa and John talk about the upcoming war and how it feels like it's getting close, that they are indeed going to soon be at war. And Olivia has said something about wishing she hadn't had boys at a time like this. And John's talking about how he now understands from the other perspective that in this case, he will be the one at home waiting and praying that nothing happens to his family, and that he now understands what Grandpa went through. It's time for the Rockfish event, and we see Olivia there hoping that she's going to win first place for her paintings, and she has a good feeling about it. We see Elizabeth and Aimee perform their dance in their little costumes, and it is very successful. And then they announce that first prize in the painting competition, spoiler alert, went to Maude Gormley. Olivia is very disappointed, but they go to take a look at the paintings. All of Olivia's are gone. And Jane Stevens tells Olivia that a collector came in and particularly admired Olivia's paintings and bought them all. So Olivia is very proud to hear that. And she was counting on the money because she needed a new sewing machine. So now she feels like she has the money. The army is planning to blow up a section of the road. They are all prepared, and we see the explosion go off. Well, this explosion or series of explosions then ends up startling Chance, and she has her calf then. And they decide, because of it was prompted by the explosion, that they will call the calf Dynamite. The family is gathered around as Olivia opens up and displays her new sewing machine. Mary Ellen says that she's waiting for Curt, and she asks Olivia if she can borrow a scarf that Olivia has. I think Daddy brought it back for her from Paris. She says it's up in the attic. She goes up to get it, and while she's up there, she finds covered up all of her paintings from the exhibit. She's very upset because she thinks John did it, and she feels like a fool that, he did this just so she could have the sewing machine. So she's going to send the sewing machine back. John is completely confused because he didn't do it, or he swears he didn't do it. Mary Ellen and Curt come back in, and Curt announces that they just heard that Paris has fallen. And it is an impactful moment for everyone, feeling that the world will never be the same again. Because of the fall of Paris, Curt says that the whole unit is moving back to Fort Lee. So they're saying goodbye to Curt. Billy is there and talks with Aaron and asks if maybe he could write to her, and she says yes, and that she might even write back. So there's a nice little moment there where you see that Aaron has let down her guard a bit, at least enough to be a friend to Billy. Mary Ellen sends Curt off, and Olivia really feels for Mary Ellen, understanding how she feels about Curt potentially on the verge of having to be deployed for war. Grandpa comes out, and he confesses that he is the one who bought the paintings because he feels like everything is about to change, and that those paintings represent Walton's Mountain, and that it's his legacy. And she said, well, I would have given them to you. And she said, no, then it wouldn't be his legacy to give to the family, leave to the family, as a reminder of what this period of time was on Walton's Mountain. So she accepts his apology. We had a lovely string of guests in this episode. Of course, the return of Ike and Corabeth, and Rachel Longaker as Aimee, and then Alice Hearson, who was back as Jane Stevens, who we had met at the business school where Aaron works, and then Marie Earle, always a joy to have her back as Maude Gormley. While the character of Billy, Private Lance, was played by actor Michael Sullivan. I hope you've enjoyed this look back at the episode, The Battle of Drucilla's Pond from Season 6. I'll be back with more behind the scenes of the Waltons, more Ask Judy, and more special guests coming up. Thanks for watching.